Fortune favors the bold. And in some ways, it might seem counterintuitive. That's the bold part. The fortune part is you're buying at the right time.
Hello, and welcome to Change and the Market, your mindful guide to the ever-changing real estate world. My name is Peyton Beck, and I'm here at Masiello HQ. And joined with me today is, as always, your resident real estate expert, author, CEO, and today we're going to say surf guru, Chris Masiello. Chris, how are you today?
Good, Peyton. Good to be with you. Good to be with everybody else. I always can't wait to see how I'm going to get described. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. That was totally on the fly.
Yeah, got it.
I kind of panicked, and I was like, I have to say something here. So surf guru today. We'll
all right, sounds good.
Do this later. But Chris, what are we talking about today?
Well, I want to talk about real estate as an investment. And, I think a lot of times, in our previous episodes, we've really talked about real estate tactically, but we haven't talked about real estate strategically. And so I've got some statistics for everybody to talk about appreciation rates over the last 20 years and even the last 100 years. But I want to start, first of all, with kind of surfacing, how we look at housing as a person, as a family, right? Is that, real estate holds a very unique place in the investment world because it's really truly one of the only investments that you get to use while it's gaining value, right? If you think about a stock, well, if I own stock, let's say in Apple, well, I don't live in my Apple stock, but I live in my house. I might drive my car, but my car depreciates. It doesn't appreciate like real estate does. And so if we can start to look at our homes, yes, of course, as a place to live, enjoy our families, bring up our kids, birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that stuff, of course, right? All the emotional reasons why we want to look at housing and, buy a house, but there's also the investment side. And it's really, like I said, it's really the only investment that there is that you actually can actually enjoy while it's appreciating. And if you go back over the last 20 years, real estate has outperformed the stock market in an increase in value. And that includes the period of time in 2008 when we had the Great Recession. And that was a particularly difficult time for the economy, housing in particular, and the housing markets recovered really well from that. And if you even go back to 1900, real estate hasn't exactly outperformed the stocks, but very close, very, very similar in its appreciation of value. So I wanted to just kind of surface that because I think we're in this kind of intermediary period where interest rates have gone up. Inflation now seems to be under control. So it'll only be a matter of time now before rates go down. Well, as we've talked about previously, as rates go down, then housing prices are going to accelerate. And so really, now, as we've talked about, right now is really the time that you want to get into the market, so that you can take advantage of that appreciation that's going to be coming, and not waiting.
What type of timeline do you think that we're looking at with regards to those rates falling and those prices increasing? Like if I'm looking at moving in the next 6 months because I'm, my wife's pregnant or, I'm an empty nester or whatever else.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So right now, appreciation rates are somewhere between, it depends on what part of the country you're in. And the Northeast in particular is appreciating quite well. Could be anywhere from 3 to 10%, just call it that. And I think from a time frame, as soon as rates start to tick down, that's probably somewhere within the next 6 months. It could be 8 months, right? The Federal Reserve meets every 2 months. So, but somewhere in a 6 to 8 month window, you'll see indication of rates, coming down. And as that enters the market, and the lower rate environment, even just the thought of a lower rate environment kind of permeates the market, you'll start to see greater levels of appreciation.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, especially kind of tying back into kind of what we talked a lot about last week, that dating the rate and marrying the house, right? Getting in early so that way you're not paying that higher price. Yeah. As we've talked about many times, higher price costs more than a higher interest rate.
Yeah, the rate is always temporary, but the sales price is always permanent. When you buy a house from somebody, you can't go back, a couple of years from now and say, hey, can I get a refund? It doesn't work that way. But you can swap the rate out really easily, especially now. Lenders are challenged because of the drop in volume, and so there's a ton of refinance programs. Through our partner CMG, we offer a lot of programs that will put you in a really good position as rates start to drop. It's kind of funny because I'm from New England. The land in New England, right? Because it was part of Great Britain. It was granted under King's grants, and that was how wealth was defined. Wealth was defined in real estate, and so I think maybe sometimes we lose sight of that as real estate are houses. Okay, I'm not talking about apartment buildings or strip malls or anything like that, which are very obvious investments. But our houses are not only a tactical part of a wealth management plan for a family, but they're strategic. It's tactical because you get to use it every day, but it's strategic because it goes up in value. And especially with short supplies of inventory, which are not going to go away anytime soon, it's the same thing. That prices are going to continue to go up. And if you're in a say a modest price house and you want to move up, well, you're going to be able to sell that modest price house to move up to that next size house. Yes, it's going to cost more money, but that house is actually going to appreciate at a faster rate because 10% on a higher number is more than 10% on a lower number. And
I'll
so
change
I think,
everything. Chris Masiello, mathematician.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure my math teachers wouldn't have said that, but and it's a good hedge against inflation and all that. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about that today, just about an investment.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I do think there's a lot of, we've talked about this before in other shows, right? I'm younger, starting a family, that idea of how do we, what does our family strategy look like? And even as I move into, what my portfolio looks like for my family as we're, planning the future. Yeah, it's something that I'm always worried about. And I'm sure all of us are, right? And maybe this is just the younger generation's constant anxiety.
The average person now, it used to be 7 years was the number. People would sell their houses every 7 years, right? Now it's approaching 11. People are going to be in their houses longer. Well, you're going to be in your house longer. The reality of it is it's going to appreciate more.
Yeah.
And so you really do have to look at it really as it's a strategic part of your family wealth.
Yes.
It's deceiving though, because we live in it every day. So because we live in it every day, we don't necessarily look at it as an asset. So it's not like we can go on to, some stock ticker and take a look at the increased value of my house, like you can, like going on to Yahoo Finance, which is where I got a lot of this information from, the historical data. That we could go into Yahoo Finance and you can go see what your stocks are. It's so we don't have tools that will help us easily compare, but yet the appreciation is still going on every day while you're in your house.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's awesome.
And I think to end today, one of the things that came to mind in just making my notes is, fortune favors the bold. So, yeah, you got slightly higher interest rates. I got it. And at the same time, your rate's temporary. You should be buying into the market when you're not on top of the wave, right? But you're getting ready to ride the wave. That's what you're doing. Now really is the time. And in some ways it might seem counterintuitive. That's the bold part. The fortune part is you're buying at the right time.
All right, well, that'll do it for us today on this episode of Change and the Market. As always, if you like this video, feel free to like it and then also share it with your friends and kind of help us grow our ever-growing community. You can follow Chris Masiello at Chris Masiello on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Follow the Masiello group as well. And remember, you can follow Chris at what did I say earlier? Your surf guru.
Don't do that.
Well, no, and and like we end every episode, cowabunga. I want to see if Brian will make my hand make me look like a firebender. And now, Chris, act like you're really impressed.
Whoa.
Right?